Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now a massive bearish signal is now flashing on this Bitcoin chart, while this short-term warning signal is still playing out for the price of Bitcoin, while Mt. Gox just moved billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin that we need to pay attention to, while Ethereum is still playing out this short-term warning signal, while the Ethereum ETFs are now trading. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today, taking a look at the Bitcoin news today, because just on Monday, we saw a massive net inflow into the spot Bitcoin ETFs. This time around, it was a net inflow of nearly $500 million, more specifically around $485.9 million US. And so if this continues, of course, this is buying pressure, buying up Bitcoin. So technically speaking, this is good news for the price of Bitcoin. But with that being said, this is not the only thing that is affecting the price of Bitcoin. For example, just recently in the last few hours or so, over the last one day, we've seen Mt. Gox move billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin and move hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin over towards exchanges. And in fact, just over the last one day, Mt. Gox moved nearly $3 billion US, around $2.85 billion US worth of Bitcoin to multiple other addresses that Mt. Gox may control. And they also moved around $340 million worth of Bitcoin to exchanges. And so we know that Mt. Gox is initiating repayments to customers because, in case you're new to all of this, Mt. Gox was a crypto exchange that basically collapsed a little over a decade ago. And so customers of the exchange have been waiting for all that time to receive their Bitcoin back. And only just now is Mt. Gox, well, the Mt. Gox trustee, essentially paying back that Bitcoin to customers. And of course, because it's a lot of Bitcoin, some of those customers may end up selling that Bitcoin, which is why this is considered some bearish news. And in case you're wondering how much Bitcoin Mt. Gox is still currently holding, well, the Mt. Gox trustee, as of right now, they're still holding over 90,000 Bitcoin worth just under $6 billion US. And so obviously, if this is all getting paid out to customers, and let's just say customers sell maybe half of that Bitcoin, that is quite a lot of selling pressure that could hit the market all of a sudden. But it is worth pointing out that this is short-term selling pressure, because ultimately, even if a lot of the customers dump a lot of this Bitcoin, soon enough, they will run out of that Bitcoin to dump. And so ultimately, it would be a temporary dump in the price, like what we saw with the German government just a few weeks ago. Because of course, just a couple of weeks ago, right back here, we saw the German government dumping billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin on the market, which did of course dump the price in the short term. But ultimately, the German government ran out of Bitcoin. And as soon as they ran out of Bitcoin, we saw a recovery in the price of Bitcoin later on. And so just keep that in mind while these repayments are happening for the Mt. Gox trustee to the Mt. Gox customers. This could cause some short-term bearish price action, basically a dump in the price of Bitcoin if a lot of customers are selling this Bitcoin. But soon enough, when they run out of Bitcoin or when they stop selling that Bitcoin, once again, we could see a recovery later on, like what we saw after the German government situation. And with that being said, getting into some other crypto news today, looking at Ethereum news, because just today is the first day that the Ethereum ETFs are now trading on the US stock market. And these are not just any ETFs, any derivatives products like futures ETFs, for example. These are spot Ethereum ETFs, which is very good news for the price of ETH over the longer term, but not necessarily in the short term. And so first of all, we don't really have a lot of information on the flows today in or out of the ETFs, because this will get updated over the next one day or so. We can start to know what the inflows or outflows are from these ETFs. But essentially, when it comes to the Bitcoin ETFs, when they got approved right around January this year, we actually saw a major dump in the price of Bitcoin over the next few weeks. And that was mainly caused by Grayscale, which is an ETF provider for Bitcoin right here with GBTC. And they're also an ETF provider for the new Ethereum ETFs. And that's because prior to the ETFs being launched, Grayscale had a fund with a lot of Bitcoin, and also they have a fund with Ethereum. And so essentially, as soon as those Bitcoin ETFs launched back at the beginning of this year, we saw a lot of that Bitcoin from Grayscale suddenly unlock. And because Grayscale is charging extremely high fees, way higher than any competition, that essentially forced a lot of investors that were holding their funds under Grayscale to withdraw out of Grayscale. And when they withdraw their funds out of Grayscale, because it's a cash create ETF, they cannot pay out in Bitcoin, they have to pay out in US dollars, which means Grayscale had to dump Bitcoin on the market to pay out in US dollars. And so just keep that in mind with the ETFs just launching right here for Ethereum, we could see a bit of that action happening where we actually see a bit of a short-term dump or a sell the news event. But ultimately, what happened over the next few months after those few weeks of short-term bearish price action was a lot more bullish price action, which was mainly driven by the ETFs. Because back in February and March, we saw billions upon billions of dollars flowing into the Bitcoin ETFs, way more than any outflows that we saw, especially during February and March. And in that exact same time period where we were seeing massive net inflows, we were seeing massive bullish price action. And also considering the fact that major institutions like BlackRock, for example, are now promoting crypto on their front page. This is BlackRock's front page of their website under the United States page right here, promoting the new Ethereum ETF. And so considering that this is happening, of course, this is helping to legitimize crypto in the traditional finance space, which over the long term is bullish, but just in the short term, once again, we could see a bit of short-term sell pressure. But with that being said, getting into some Bitcoin charts today. First of all, this is the 4-day Bitcoin chart. And over the last 1 day, despite this short-term pullback right here, nothing has really changed on the 4-day time frame. So getting straight into this daily Bitcoin chart. And over the last 1 day, we've actually seen a bit of a bounce back to the upside in the DXY. And so this is actually a warning signal that we need to pay attention to right now, because usually when the DXY is bullish, that is almost always bearish for the price of Bitcoin in terms of the trend and momentum here on the daily time frame. And usually when the DXY is bearish, that is almost always bullish for the price of Bitcoin, once again in terms of the trend and momentum on the daily time frame. And so at least as of right now, we have not yet fully confirmed a bullish trend reversal in the DXY, which means at least for now, we have not actually confirmed a bearish trend reversal in the price of Bitcoin, but this is a warning signal that we need to pay attention to that could lead into a bearish trend reversal signal for the price of Bitcoin if this bounce continues here in the DXY. And so as always, I'll keep you up to date every day here on the channel completely for free. So you might as well subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos. And with that being said, taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, and right now the price of Bitcoin is rejecting further from this critical area of resistance that I've been warning about here on the channel, sitting in between around $67,000 to around $68,000. And this resistance is mainly based on previous support and resistance, and also the volume profile indicator showing a massive amount of traded volume going all the way up towards around 68.3K at the height of this area of resistance. And now if we end up seeing a confirmed breakout above 68.3K with candle closes above that level and ideally flipping that into new support again, then in that case, we could see a move up towards that all-time high area in between around 72 to 74,000. But at least for now, once again, 67 to 68,000 is still the area of resistance to pay attention to. And as for shorter term support, we have a massive amount of support in this price range based on previous support and resistance, and also based on the volume profile indicator showing a lot of support at around 63 to 64,000. In case we see a further rejection, once again, we should expect support around that price range. And personally, I would only start to flip more bearish again in terms of the trend right here, the trend and momentum, if we start seeing a confirmed break back below this area of support that I just mentioned, and especially if we see a further bounce to the upside at the same time in the DXY. If we see those signals, then I'd start to flip more bearish again in terms of the trend. And so once again, because as of right now, we don't really have a lot of confirmation confirming a bearish trend reversal, at least for now, we're just experiencing a bit of a short-term cool-off during a bullish trend, which is exactly what I talked about in my last video. And if we're taking a look at this 8-hour Bitcoin chart, right now the price of Bitcoin is playing out that short-term bearish divergence, which I already warned about over the last couple of days here on the channel. On the 6-hour chart, this is also visible, as well as this 8-hour time frame. But essentially, a bearish divergence most commonly plays out in the form of a short-term pullback or some choppy sideways price action. So basically a cool-off from the bullish trend. But a bearish divergence by itself is not necessarily enough to confirm a bearish trend reversal. And so once again, as I've already been warning about here on the channel, expect a short-term cool-off from the bullish trend, which is now playing out exactly as expected. But unless we see a break below around 63,000, technically speaking, we can still remain within the bullish trend. Because once again, a bullish trend can contain some short-term pullbacks here and there, just like how a bearish trend can contain some bounces back to the upside here and there during a bearish trend. And so just to recap, we're still technically in a bullish trend because we have not confirmed a bearish trend reversal signal, at least not yet, but we do have a warning signal flashing on this chart right here. And as I've already warned about over the last few days, we have this bearish divergence now playing out exactly as expected. And if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I take just about all of my trades over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link, I'll take you to this page right here, which is a massive lucky draw happening right now over on Bybit, where you could potentially win up to $100,000 just by trading crypto using that link down below this video. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex down below this video as an alternative crypto exchange. And with that being said, if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, as I said yesterday, we're most likely going to see the price drop down towards around 65.7 to 65.8k. And over the last one day, we've seen exactly that play out as expected because we had a lot of liquidity sitting right at that level. And so as usual, the price of Bitcoin usually moves towards where there's a lot of liquidity, especially if it's close to the price. Not a guarantee, but usually that tends to happen. And as of right now, the liquidity levels to pay attention to are first of all sitting at around 65.6k to 65.7k, so basically just below the current price. As of recording this video, we still have a lot of liquidity right there, and we also have a lot of liquidity at around 63,000. And we do have some liquidity at around 68,500, but with that being said, the majority of the liquidity, at least in the short term for the price of Bitcoin, is sitting just below the current price. And with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and technically speaking, we have not invalidated this bullish breakout or the bullish price target at 3.9k. And so on the daily time frame, not much has really changed over the last one day. Technically speaking, we're still in more of a bullish trend despite the short-term pullback, at least as of right now. But obviously, we still have this bearish divergence playing out as expected here on the 8-hour time frame, with higher highs confirmed in the price and lower highs confirmed in the 8-hour Ethereum RSI. As I warned about here on the channel, I said expect a short-term cool-off from the bullish trend, despite the fact that we could still remain within the bullish trend and continue the bullish trend later on. And so this is all still playing out as expected. Once again, expect a bit of choppy sideways price action or short-term pullback just in the short term, is in potentially for the next few days or so. But ultimately, once we see a breakout back above this golden pocket, we could see the continuation of that bullish trend. And in case you're new to this channel, this golden pocket area of resistance is sitting in between around 3480 to 3520. And the next level of resistance is sitting in between around 3650 to 3.7k. And above 3.7k, the next major price target would be sitting at around 3.9k. But once again, at least for the next day or two, we're still playing out this bearish divergence as of right now in the shorter term. And as for support, we do have a lot of support at around 3340 to around 3380. And in case we end up seeing a break back below around 3340, then in that case, we do have a lot of support at around 3.2k to 3220 based on previous support and resistance and also this Fibonacci level. And if we're taking a quick look at the price of Solana on the 12-hour time frame, we're continuing that short-term rejection and pullback from this exact area of resistance that I've been warning about, sitting in between around 183 to 187, acting as strong resistance, and also at the same time as the 12-hour Solana RSI just recently entering into overbought territories, telling us that we have very limited room to the upside, at least in the short term. And so once again, as I said yesterday, the last time we saw this happen, we did end up seeing a further short-term pullback over the next few days. So this is a likely outcome which is playing out as expected. But this signal by itself is not necessarily enough to confirm the end of the bullish trend and a new bearish trend. And so in order to see that, we need to see other bearish confirmation signals, like for example, breaks below key support. And at least for now, we're still finding some support right here in the short term at around 170 to 175, which was previous resistance and is now acting as new support. And in case we see a break back below around 170, we also have a lot of support at around 159 to 161. So right at around $160 should be acting as strong support. And once again, if we start seeing some bearish trend reversal signals for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and if we start breaking below these key levels of support, those would be bearish reversal signals for the price of Solana. But at least as of right now, those signals have not confirmed. And so ultimately, we should be expecting a little bit more of a short-term cool-off, just a break or setback from the bullish trend. But for now, we have not confirmed the end of the bullish trend. And once again, if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.